Hi, I'm Nate with Average Ag Archery Pro Shop and Range here in Phillipsburg, PA. And today I want to talk about accuracy expectations, consistency expectations, whether you're shooting target or for hunting. So let's make something very clear. I am not what you would consider to be a professional archer. I consider myself a very high-level shot, but I've not won national podiums and so on and so forth, although I do hold my own at a lot of the national events as well as a lot of the local events as well. But even with that said, if you don't want to listen to me because I'm not Bodie Turner, I get it. Bodie's a pretty good shot. When it comes to accuracy expectations, though, I see a lot of what I would consider the average guys, right? It's almost like we named a bow shop after it. The average guy who wants to just go out and have fun with his wife, with his kids, with his buddies. He wants to shoot either competitively in league, maybe win a couple of bucks or just have a trophy for bragging rights, or they just want to get better at hunting whitetails, elk, or whatever else as the game that they are choosing to chase with a bow and arrow. And so there's a lot of people that come into my store that have almost no knowledge of what they should expect out of themselves, and particularly once they've been shooting for, let's say, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe even 10 years, or in my case, 20 some years of shooting a bow. What should your accuracy expectation be? And so I say there's accuracy expectation, and then there's consistency expectation. So accuracy, when we look at something like a Vegas face, right? If you're not hitting the center, right, it doesn't matter, right? That's like the only way you can be accurate is if you're hitting the center. But if we take a look at these couple of targets here, we have a variety of different accuracy expectations. Here we have what I would consider to be your pretty average league shooter, or your pretty average bow hunter guy here in Central Pennsylvania that comes into my store. They've got a bunch of the gold 9s here. We got an 8 flying out every now and then. We have a couple of 10s, maybe a few X's here and there. Classic 270s, 280s on a Vegas face or a Lancaster face kind of shooter. This is a pretty high-end shooter for a bow hunting guy. I want to make this very clear. The average bow hunting guy, the average dude going down and shooting your local leagues, or the average guy shooting your local 3D course, is not that great of a shot compared to what you see on the internet. You see guys out at TAC launching 110 and they're inside out in the caribou. You see dudes like Bodie Turner who just tear it up on the indoor scene, Levi Morgan, Dan McCarthy on the outdoor scene for 3D, and it's just bonus ring after bonus ring after inside out X after inside out X. That is not your average guy. Your average guy looks like this. This right here is about a 3-inch circle, just about, and that's a 3-inch group at 20 yards. That's pretty normal, all right? That is pretty average. And so this leads me to what I would consider to be my standard for high level accuracy for a person shooting a bow, myself included, right? This is just a bow hunter shooting a bow, is for every 10 yards of distance, you're allowed to increase your group size by 1 inch. So that's at 10 yards, you have a 1-inch group. At 20 yards, you have a 2-inch group. At 30 yards, you have a 3-inch group, 40, so on and so forth. So by the time you get back to 50, 60 yards, you've got a 5 or 6-inch group. Now, that is high level, in my opinion. That is very high level. I would even argue that's relatively high level if you're a 50-yard shooter in the ASA or IBO. If you're able to hold a 5-inch group under pressure at 50 yards. Think of the same thing if you're trying to hunt a whitetail or an elk or whatever. You got to make that shot under pressure. So that's what I consider to be high level, an inch MOA, right? Minute of angle, we'll just call it that. Or MOD, minute of deer, how about that? An inch per 10 yards. And I find that to be, if you are that kind of shooter, that is a great goal to set for yourself. You're not that kind of shooter already. But if you are, you're already in the upper third. You're already well above the bell curve. I use bell curves a lot in my videos. You're already well above the bell curve of the average archer. A lot of your average archers shoot targets that look like this. They're all over. That's about, right, an 8-inch circle, right? It's 40 centimeter face. It's an 8-inch circle, thereabouts. And you got target holes now. Granted, obviously more than one person have shot this, but you've got arrow holes down here. You've got arrows in the blue. You've got arrows that are missing. This is actually more normalized, right? So whenever I hear people freaking out, they don't feel they're being very accurate or whatever, there's a lot of dudes that take this hunting and feel happy about it. It's true. I wouldn't feel happy about it. I would much rather go back to my minute of deer, right? My minute of angle, every inch of group for 10 yards that I'm moving backwards. But there are a lot of people that do shoot like that and actually shoot still well, right? That's still not going to be an atrociously terrible score for your average indoor league shooter. So when it comes to your accuracy expectations and your consistency expectations, if you are getting below an inch per 10 yards, that's okay. I would consider that inch per 10 yards to be actually a high level shooter, top third. okay? I really do. If you are doing better than that, which there are plenty of people who can do better than that, you are, I consider, in the top 10% of shooters who can actually do that. It's not super duper easy to just step up to Vegas face and just inside out X after inside out X after inside out X. And to prove it, I'm gonna put down the coffee and pick up the Elite Ethos, my hunting bow. I do have it all rigged out here in standard. I shoot the CB Trek 2 V-pin sight, the Bee Stinger counter slide bar. That's a nice bar system, Hamsky rest, 70 pounds, 31 inches of draw, you know, my normal hunting rig. And I've got my Ultra Airs here, the standard 246. And I'm gonna just step back to 20 yards and then the 30 yards, 40 yards and see what kind of groups I get. Because you got to put your money where your mouth is on the internet or no one believes you anymore. A slightly controversial topic. I think that consistency is way more important than accuracy. And what I mean by that is that me being able to hold tight groups, even if I'm left one day and right one day, I'm high or low or whatever, I think the ability to hold tighter groups at distance or in competition is actually more important. Because if I get, you know, one that's a little high, one that's a little low, and then I just inside out one, I don't really have a consistency. I can't really move my sight to that. But if let's say I go to a national event and I step up to the bags first thing in the morning, and I start sending arrows at 50 yards, and I've got a wad of them like this, but they're like 3 inches left. Move your sight. I can just move my sight to that. But if I got one that's left and one that's right and one that's in the middle and one that's kind of high left or whatever, I don't really have, sure, I was accurate there. That one arrow was the most accurate. But consistency was way more important. So I really try to focus on doing the same thing over and over and over again. Because when I go and rewatch my hunting videos, it's actually really funny. I've gotten so ingrained into my shot cycle, my shot process, that when I shoot a deer, it looks on my second angle camera exactly the same as when I'm shooting an indoor round or a practice target in the yard. It's the exact same motions, the exact same everything. And so that's how I know that I have really kind of perfected my consistency. I've gotten my body as consistent as I could make it. And so therefore that lends to better accuracy over time. I don't have a place to put my coffee. So here we are at 20. These arrows weigh almost exactly identical to what I shot last year. So I kind of roughly ballparked this for 20, but again, I'm going for consistency here, not accuracy. So I'm just gonna aim my Vegas face here at 20, first few shots of the day, and let's see how sore and stiff I am. Oh, that's not bad at all. Felt pretty good. Now I'm not shooting groups at 20 because I have a propensity to crack arrows off each other, and arrows are not cheap. Might even be a little bit better. Lighting also affects greatly your left and rights. I shot this in the downstairs range. This is the upstairs range. Lighting is similar, but definitely not identical. I'm definitely hitting a little bit right. It's definitely also probably running a little bit hot. First 3 shots of the day, not half bad. I'm definitely running a little bit hot. I held almost lollipopping the entire 10 ring, and I'm almost clipping the X. So broke this one center here and it went high. But in terms of, again, my consistency, so I'm a touch right. That's okay. I think I'm still a touch right. This one felt better. I think it's just my lighting issue, getting used to it here. But we have about, if you think about it here, from the bottom side here up to here, we have about a 2-inch group. Right, so 2-inch group at 20 for 3 cold shots to start the day. That's not half bad. But that is my expected accuracy out of a hunting bow. Now, out of a target bow, I expect my accuracy to be a little bit tighter. But we're talking hunting bow here. We're talking hunting bow. We're talking dude who just enjoys bow hunting, enjoys shooting his bow. We're not specifically talking about super high level, you know, semi-pro, pro level shooter for target accuracy. The sight is a slider. I do have a feeling that the tape, again, is a little bit off. I might set it to like 29. Where's my 30 mark? Oh, here it is. One day, I'm gonna be rich enough, one day, that I'm gonna be able to pay for a camera guy. Felt like I was just right. I think my height is good there though, going 29. So I took a couple shots. It is definitely way faster than last year's bow, with this tape number anyway. way fast. Also shooting with my glasses on. And you're like, well, of course, Nate, why wouldn't you want to see? But this is my hunting bow. I need to figure out what my expectations of accuracy are in what I'm going to hunt with, which is without my glasses, which doesn't help with the ability to see things. But that's the expectation. Also, I'm not running my E-tack. Usually have an E-tack on here, which helps brighten up these fibers. We're gonna set this to 27. We're gonna stick her in the middle here. I really feel my eyes have gotten a lot worse since last year. That Vegas face down there is just a mess of orangey, yellowish red. That one felt okay. It's getting there in a hurry. I don't know how fast it's going, but it's getting there quick. This is why you practice this stuff in April, by the way, and not August. Well, that one sounded good, broke good. Let's go down there and see what we got together. As expected, we have about a 3-inch group at 30, which isn't half bad, right? This is our gap here. Again, yellow, this yellow circle here, about 3 inches. You do that at 30 and in. Minute of accuracy, that's not bad. That's actually pretty solid. I'm actually pretty pleased so far with myself that my left rights are actually looking really good. All right, here's 40. I'm gonna shoot at the big spots because the little Vegas 3-banger, I can't see it all. 40, I can't see this far without my glasses on anyway, not with my right eye. Let's see what we get. Wow. I'll tell you what, my vision went to a hot place in a handbasket. I think I need a bigger peep too. It's just matching up with the white ring here. I wish I had a little bit more air. Oh, let's get around this table. I might be the most lethal blind archer in central Pennsylvania. Hoo-wee. How do you like them apples? It's just dumb luck. Can definitely get my fingers around all of it with ease. Without even have to squeeze the arrows too hard together. So definitely under a 4-inch group there for that minute of angle, if you will. Yeah, I mean, if I was to shoot, this size group at 40 to 50 yards for a target setup, shooting in the ASA or IBO or a local thing, I'd be over the moon. So this is, again, I'm not sighted in, but so I'm not worried about hitting the middle. I'm worried about the consistency, the size of the group. This for me is perfect. Like, this is high level. Would I love to have them all 4 touching? Absolutely. But to have this group without my glasses for a hunting bow, I know my limitations. I know what sight I've set for myself, right? Ultimately my goals for hunting or for target or whatever. But in the case of hunting, this is amazing, and even for target, this is amazing. So this is great for my mental state, my encouragement of myself, my positivity, my optimism on how I'm pursuing the sport of archery. And that's the thing, setting goals, incremental goals for yourself is really huge. Don't be like, oh, I got to win Vegas, or I got to win. Don't do that. Set incremental goals, and then you're able to check things off. There's nothing more satisfying to me than making a list of things and checking them off. I know everybody's not wired that way, but I find that most archers are. That we'd like to have the ability to check things off as we go through them. Not instant gratification, but check things off as we go through them. So anyway, I'm going to pull these out. I'm going to get ready to open. It's almost 1 o'clock here on a Sunday. I hope if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me if I did leave you with any. Average Jack Archery down in the comment section below here on YouTube, obviously. Find me on Facebook and Instagram, Average Jack Archery. Send me an email, averagejackarchery@gmail.com. And of course, if you are in the central Pennsylvania or northeastern part of the country, period, and you want to call Average Jack Archery Pro Shop and Range your home shop, you can check us out at 21 North Front Street in Phillipsburg, PA. But that's it. I hope you're able to get outside, enjoy the sport of archery hunting if you so choose. Definitely enjoy God's beautiful creation. Set some moderate goals for yourself. Check them off. And we'll get to see you next time.